Hello, good evening. Today's the 19th of January and it's a Wednesday, and I have been reading out of Lydia, a book I wrote after I finished Bliss After Life, which was 2006 till 2017, and then I continued writing. Bliss died at 95 at the beginning of Bliss After Life, because we follow her into the afterlife, and her family and all involvement, her two daughters, Holly and Susan, and their respective sons, Tony and Ben, are all involved in the story, and there is a new baby which has just been born in the March 2012, and her name is Lydia. She is a reincarnation of Alexei. Anyhow, we're chapter 26, Anna's baked potatoes. Anna had suddenly found herself craving baked potatoes. It was still a bit chilly outside, and she was waiting to hear when Peter would be coming. He was meeting up with Tony, and it sounded like they were coming here earlier than she thought. But it had stopped her from wanting to eat all day until now. She had found 5 large potatoes which had been in the cupboard for a while, and when her mother Skyped her earlier, she had this pang, hot, buttery, cheesy baked potatoes. She remembered it. It was cheap when she was living in Moscow, and she could afford it on her way home from work sometimes. It was so lovely and warm and somehow very nourishing. Actually still be here tonight. Wow, she would make them all. Who doesn't like baked potatoes? Her mind was wandering. For months they had spoken so much now. She knew Peter so well over the hours of conversations on the phone. He had hinted that he would shorten his visit to his mum. He loved his mum and visiting her, but with her own life so busy, he had decided to come earlier to Bournemouth than he had originally planned. Apparently you have a low FPS, whatever that means. I'm just going to ignore it. She knew he had the reputation of being quiet and studious, but she found him very talkative, and over the last couple of weeks his planned stay with his mother had got shorter and shorter, and now he was coming tonight already to see her. April had started, and there was such a feeling of spring in the air. The days were getting so much longer. She put herself some music on, started to prepare the potatoes, and knew it would go down well. She heard her stomach rumble and fetched a banana from the bowl. Ben, Faye, Lydia, and parents had gone off to the south coast 2 days ago. The house seemed quiet, and she was glad the boys were coming. She heard the phone ring. It was not surprised to hear Melanie's voice. I just had a text from Tony. He had said that he and Peter are coming tonight already, here. I was suddenly thinking, how about I come up to London? We could spend the weekend. I know Faye and all are visiting, staying at Bliss Place, but without Tony here. What a great idea. I've just prepared 5 potatoes, Melanie. Anyhow, I tell you later. Will you drive? I got a fright when the landline rang. It hardly ever does, and the house is so quiet. I rang to make sure you're at home. Yes, I'm setting off soon. I just need to sort my cat's care, and will probably be there when the potatoes are ready. If I bake them very slowly, which is what I intend to do anyway, Russian style. See you soon, and drive carefully. Chapter 28. It should be 27, really. Tony and Peter. They had been out to a concert the night before. They had both been fans of this band way back, when Peter was staying at the Refuge. Afterward, they had gone to the pub, and Peter talked so much of Anna that Tony suggested that they go off to the Refuge the next day. They had both got quite drunk, equally in love with their 2 very different but completely gorgeous women, and Tony had texted Melanie with the news that they are heading for the Refuge much earlier than planned. Peter's mum had made them an enormous breakfast as they had a hangover. They were still recovering when Tony got Melanie's text informing them that she was also heading for the refuge. His hangover disappeared, and Peter was already in the shower to get ready. He made them a huge juice with the impressive-looking juicer in Berta's kitchen, and took them upstairs to get ready and perk Peter up with beetroot and ginger. He was laughing to himself because the very first time when Peter was 11 and had arrived at Susan's refuge, he had also been visiting. Ben had also been visiting the refuge. Ben's mother often juiced, generally leftover vegetables and fruit. The first one he was offered had been a bad example, as all that had been left to juice was apples, celery, and 3 grapefruits. And because Tony was used to varying tastes these juice sometimes had, his mother also made them often and used a lot of fruit, and often she put sweet fruit in to make Tony drink it. She always smuggled celery and carrots into it. He had not liked them as cooked vegetables very much. His face had been a picture. Susan had been going on about the goodness of raw juice, and when he tasted it his mouth crunched up and his eyes were wide in disbelief. Tony and Ben had already drunken theirs so quickly, as they had seen the grapefruit, and it was easiest to just get it down. So Peter seemed determined not to be left out, but he was visibly fighting, gagging on the juice. It was hilarious. In the end, Susan relented and found some oranges and mixed some honey into it. He got the giggles every time he had to think about it, and when Peter came out of the bathroom in his mother's bathrobe, he could barely hand him the pint of bright red juice. Peter knew exactly what the shaking hand was all about, and he held his nose, gulping the juice as fast as last night's first pint. He had a red beard, and they were laughing, not only because of the past, but also about the future. Both ended up sitting on the floor in Peter's old bedroom, chinking their empty glasses. I'm so looking forward to Anna. It seems like it's been months of talking, endless, on the phone. Listen, Peter, I find it amazing to hear you saying that you spend hours with her talking on the phone. You're one of my quietest friends. That New Year's Eve night, you changed. Oh, come on, Tony, I was only visiting a few days. I don't feel I've changed. Don't you? I have to tell you, Peter, you have always been a bit of a pessimist. I always understood somehow. I remember talking to my mum and dad because you were so quiet. I'm glad we all ended up laughing about the first time you had the sour juice. I'm glad you were not offended. We genuinely had not thought that you never had fresh juice, and we knew how to drink it fast. No, I caught on when I saw your faces. It was all so quick, and I tried to be sophisticated. They ended up laughing again. Tony put his arms around Peter's shoulders. We did spend quite a lot of time together in those days. I know you can talk a lot when you are with friends. When you feel close to people. Hardly ever when there were other new people around, though. The refuge was great somehow. I loved visiting, and my mum was always happy to come and drop me. She always visited London in those days anyway. It was good for all of us, I guess, although I think they found us quite difficult at times. They were laughing again. They had spent last night talking much of the old days. Anyhow, I get showered now. I'm all packed. And shall we set off within the hour? I will text Melanie now. Chapter 29. Melanie was sitting in the kitchen with Anna, who looked stunning. Apart from the New Year's Eve, she had never seen Anna like this, beautiful and radiant, despite the big apron she was wearing. I do love the pink top, Anna. You do look great. I made an effort. I'm looking forward to Peter. You look amazing yourself, Melanie. You have this look. What is it? They were both smiling. Melanie hugged herself. She would love to tell Anna, but she had to wait to tell Tony first. After that, everyone should know. She knew that she would find it impossible to contain the news for long. She had some lovely confirmation from Mio in her bath, and she felt so good. Her morning nausea was forgotten. She had enjoyed the drive. The kitchen smelled amazing. It looked like Anna got quite busy. There were rolls just out of the oven, and the whole place looked lovely. I'm looking forward to Tony. I know he was only away a few days, but I am so used to having him around now. His flat is so close to mine anyway, and with him gone, I really missed it. Although there are days when our work hours make it more difficult to chat. He's always home at night. She had not even realized how true that was, and she was so happy that he couldn't wait to see her either. The house seems very quiet. Who is staying here in the refuge at the moment? It's funny, but actually, no one. Well, obviously, Faye and Ben and her parents, who are lovely, by the way. It felt odd to be here by myself. The house seems huge when it's empty. I mean, it is a big house, but usually there's a lot going on. We had little Dottie and David, their mum, and David. Their mums have got together and moved out. That was really nice. I think Susan has kept a very low profile. She wanted the house to feel like a home to Faye and Ben, and they've had such a nice time with her parents. It would have been a bit difficult if it was full of people, like it was last year around the time I arrived. I have been around all the rooms this morning, dusted and hoovered, put an aromatherapy oil burner in the hall. Did you smell it? Yes, it smells lovely everywhere, and the house does feel very homely. Show me your rooms. I have not seen it. I just got a text from Tony saying they're leaving now. How far away is his mother's place? Hold on. I just got a text from Peter. They will be here within the hour. I think she lives on the other end of London, North London somewhere. Anyhow, they are on their way. Come along. I show you my abode. Anna's place was in the annex, just through the utility room. The house was a bit of a maze. She led them into her large living room, open plan with a kitchen on the side, French doors leading into the garden. Beautiful and bright. Anna had put cushions out, pictures on the walls, and was leading Melanie to her bedroom, which had the bathroom en suite. The ceiling was almost all glass, the bedroom ceiling looking up at the branches of an old oak tree, which Susan loved and cherished. A small glass door was leading out to the garden on the other side of the house. They walked out the back door and came to a tiny courtyard with a bench around the oak at the side. Wow, this is beautiful. I've never really been in this part of the garden. Melanie was astonished. She had been here a few times, but she had not been around the back. The front room had large doors going into the main garden, which had little nooks and crannies, but this part was hidden. I was so happy when Susan said I could have the annex. Ben and Faye live in the house. This only has one bedroom and a living room, but isn't it gorgeous? I have really enjoyed making it my own. My mum brought this for me. She showed Melanie a beautiful handmade patchwork quilt. My grandmother made it, and I love it. It looks perfect here. I did not really have any furniture, but Susan was great. She went through the house and refurnished it all with what was already there. Hence the mixed period pieces. Melanie was laughing. It was really mixed. Impossible to say if it was more English or Russian or just quaint. The bed is fabulous. Yes, I actually bought that online. I did enjoy making it look cozy. And, well, mine. She went over to put a CD in the player and left the French doors open. It was a lovely space. Melanie settled into the large cozy chair. She loved these. One felt like a little girl in the oversized armchair. Big enough for two. Yes, it was upstairs and we cleared it up. Isn't it just the cutest? Anna sat down on the settee facing the cozy chair. They looked out into the garden. Bulbs had started to appear and the sun was just going down in the far distance. It is lovely. It feels very homely. I bet you can't wait to show Peter. Yes, I have been telling him all about it. It's ridiculous how long we speak on the phone. In a way, it's so much nicer. It's a so much nicer beginning, even if we miss seeing each other. The last year of my life has been a bit crazy, and I think of how depressed I was. I shudder. It is amazing me. It really amazes me how things work out. I mean, if I had not been so lucky to find this place. It doesn't bear thinking about, Anna. Melanie felt the weight of gratitude Anna felt for being here, so happy, waiting for her boyfriend to arrive. You were always meant to meet us all. Melanie smiled at Anna. She felt Mio wanting to say something, but she was not at all sure how Anna would feel about it. Everyone knew of Mio, but she had still often wondered how people make sense of it. Anna looked at Melanie questioningly. Go on. She had talked much to Peter about Melanie. She had heard David and Susan talking not long ago about Melanie telling Sue all about her original family or birth mother. It was fascinating. She didn't doubt her one little bit. Being here so cozy with her, a good friend, she really wanted to hear more. You had a close shave, Anna, but you were always meant to leave Russia. That was your plan before you came. You have your soul group here, dear Anna, Melanie and Faye, Holly and Susan, and their boys as well, Peter and his mother. You all had decided long ago that you will meet again. The hows are imperceptible, often little steps, but your higher self was focused. It worked out more dramatic than it needed to be. You all do love your drama. It's just that you prefer to watch it rather than be in it. All is well now. Melanie smiled and was back to herself again. They could hear a car horn tooting in the distance, and Melanie knew it was Tony. She had already felt his approach, and the hooting was confirmation. Thank you so much, Melanie. That was short, but really big. They hugged and smiled at each other. It really did feel amazingly good to have a confirmation of something so extraordinary. She came with a plan, and she had no real idea what it was. A close shave. What did she know? What she did know was that the butterflies were in action, and they both almost ran to the front door, laughing. So, the next chapter is chapter 28, and I finish it here. I hope you have a very nice Wednesday night. Bye-bye.